with three verses. Three verses, but I'm going to unpack a lot for those three verses. And it's nothing, I think this is a great after Christmas sermon. Because sometimes we get so caught up in the holidays and so consumed and so stressful and so busy that we tend to lose perspective of the very thing that God called us to do. So let me just do this a little background on the writer of our particular text, and we know him as Mathew. And Matthew's whole focus is, and the last time I talked, the last time I preached, is on the kingdom. And he introduces something totally new to his disciples, to his audience, that the kingdom is at hand. It's not by observations. The kingdom of God is within. This is a brand new teaching for those who does not understand how kingdom works. And just like them, we're still struggling today how the kingdom works. Let me give several examples because I see some people look a little puzzled. How the kingdom works, totally different than how things down here works. And we always got to keep a perspective that we're dual citizens. Okay. And I want to understand what that particularly means, right? We live down on earth here, but we're supposed to operate as kingdom citizens. Yeah. It said that we are seated together with him in heavenly places. So we operate from our authority from a kingdom perspective and not from an earthly perspective. And Jesus was trying to get them to understand the difference between how earth operates and how normal individuals down here, unsaved individual operates compared to how those kingdom citizens operates. And they struggle. Not just right here, but they struggle. For example, is that when we he says that in order to be great, one have to what? Serve, right? That's a kingdom principle. That's a very kingdom principle, right? And now down here we're saying that you know talking about we want people to serve us if we are great, right? He said that the least, should be first. I mean, so everything that we have ever been taught, school and everything we have ever been taught is reversed when it comes down to the kingdom. Totally to the kingdom, and that messed everybody up, and it messed us up too, because these principles is totally different. It doesn't make sense to the natural mind. Some of the things that he says about the principles, how the kingdom begin to work, right? And so now he gives us now another kingdom principle. Another kingdom principle, because everything that Matthew's trying to convey and get along is all about the kingdom. Getting them used to how the kingdom operates and how the kingdoms work. Right? And so now he gives us this kingdom principle. And he says to them, you said don't lay up, right? Some says stop laying up, right? He said treasures, that is earthly treasure. So he says like this: lay not for yourself treasures upon earth, where moth and rust does corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. Question is, why in the world would you, in the middle of our particular text, Jesus talk about treasures and laying up and all this good stuff? It's because of their perspective. Their perspective was this: that the more stuff you accumulate, the more stuff that you have, right? The more prospered you are. And so Jesus now denotes everything with which they've been trying to thrive and be able to do. And even in our lives, we say go accumulate this, get this, get this, get this, get this, get this. And the kingdom says don't. The kingdom says prioritize. What's important, right? And so now we're going to look at it. He showed three things in that verse that what happens when you have earthly treasures. Now he ain't talking about a treasure box and where all that stuff come out there. He's talking about treasure. He's talking about what you value. Huh?
All right.
What do you really value? And he says the three things that an individual value will not last long. And look what he says. He says that moth, or some version says worms, right? And so what he's talking about, because you know they're agricultural society, and what they do is store the grain and everything in the storehouses and everything like that, right? And over a period of time, if it stay there for a long time, right? What happens is the worms or the moth, what do they do? Right? They eat it up. He said the moth. So the first thing he wants us to know that if you store up anything that's earthly, eventually it will be eaten away. Huh? It'll be eaten away. It'll be eaten away. So he's trying to tell his audience, trying to tell the disciples and the rest of them that's listening to him, he says that if you store up earthly treasures, what happened is that you can store all the grain that you want, all the corn that you want. So you understand that if you stood the corn and the grain and all that stuff was designed for them to be able to produce and make money off of it. But if it's stored there, right, and you just keep it there, and eventually what's going to happen is it's going to eat away because the moth is going to come in and the worms is going to come in. And then he says something very interesting. He said the second thing that would happen if you store up for yourselves earthly treasures is that he says that the rust do come in and corrupt. He's talking about currencies, metals, and all those things that you try to store up. He said eventually they're going to wear away. They're going to tarnish. They're going to tarnish. You're going to tarnish. So he said the moth and the worms going to wear it away. And then if you keep it up, the gold, the silver, and all the stuff that you have stored up, what you're talking about, they're going to wear away, right? Then he says the third thing. The third thing he says, besides it wearing away, and there's, then he says that the thief will break through and steal. And so that means they're going to be taken away. Now I want you to see these three things again. I'm repeating so you can understand. He said it's going to be eaten away, wear away, and taken away. Right? And so actually what he was trying to say, and what he was really trying to say is that everything that man put their trust and everything they try to do is going to be, it's going to wear away, taken away, right? And he said not only that, but he said all these things is temporal.
Yes.
You know what he's saying? He's saying by you storing up earthly treasures is only temporal. The very thing that we put all our stock in, the very thing we work so hard to try to achieve in life, he says it's going to be eaten away, it's going to wear away, and one day it will be taken away. And I like he says when the thief comes in. Now see, I don't know about y'all, but I used to have problems with these things right here. Amen. It wasn't always, praise the Lord. Amen. It wasn't all for that. It was sticky fingers. And see, there's a difference between somebody who robbed you and somebody who steals. I want you to get it. It's two different things, right? Right? He gets you when you least expect it. So what he's saying that he's going to break in and steal. And actually, the very thing that you trust in, that you thought was going to be there forever, he said the thief comes and he breaks in and he steals it. And it's going to be eventually taken away from you. So everything that he's saying in that particular verse, he's saying that we're thinking short term. That's the difference between kingdom and earthly. Sometimes we thinking so short-sighted. short term. And not thinking about the long term. I'm going to help you. So I said, good time. It's only 10:20. That's good time. Short term. Kingdom individuals don't think in the now. Huh? So some of our problem is that we think about the here and the now. Huh? That's short-sighted, short-minded. Here and now. That's how earthly individuals think. I'm going to get mine now. I'm going to get all, I'm going to get all I can now. Because I don't know what tomorrow holds. I want to try to make some sense out of this particular text. Because some of us probably don't think kingdom-minded or kingdom perspective. That's why Colossians says what? Set your affections or set your mind, what? For things above and not things on the earth. Right? Because sometimes all we do is think about earthly treasures. Earthly things. Things that he says gonna get eaten away, wear away, taken away. Things that's short term. Then he said things that are perishable. Then he talks about things that's not preventable. He's saying that everything that you put your trust in, there's no prevention plan for it. There's no security in this thing. That's a whole different perspective now. That's a whole different perspective because now it changes our perspective of what we are trying to do in life. And so he's talking to his disciples, and not only is he talking to the disciples, that he's talking to the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Because Luke now puts a different spin on our particular text, is because he says that an individual came to Jesus and asked Jesus to be a mediator about an inheritance. And he said, man's life is consist of more than just possessions. Huh? Our life is more than just possessions, right? And he tells a parable. Y'all know the parable. When I begin to tell the parable of a man, right? He was doing finance. He was doing good, right? With his grain and stuff. And he decided, he said to himself, self,
I'm going to lay up.
I'm going to store it up. Come on, I like barbaritas. Come on, right? I'm going to tear this barn down.
Build a new one.
How you talking about? I'm going to erect a bigger and better barn to be able to carry all my goods. You see up there where I'm going at? You know what he said? He said, fool! He said, fool! See, he thought he had a long time. Huh? And he thought he was going to enjoy all the goods and everything he had. You talking about he was swollen up in himself. He gonna tell himself. We're going to be bigger and better. All the things that we see all around us. All the buildings. All the things that people building. One day it's going to be eaten away. It's going to wear away. Or it's going to be taken away. And he used that particular parable to convey the message that all that is earthly treasures. And he says that who would it be given to you when you die? All that you accumulated really didn't mean nothing. Then he says this, verse 20. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust nor corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. Amen. Now that sounds like a good deal to me. Now, he said to them, listen here. Lay up treasures which in heaven. Instead of us doing things that's temporal, let's do on things that's eternal.
Yes. Amen.
Instead of thinking short-lived, y'all start looking at the long term.
Yes.
Huh? Let's look at long term. Let's look at long term. So he's saying, let's go from looking at short term to start looking at long term. He said, but lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven. He's saying that while we down on earth, we can be laying up stuff, treasures here in heaven. Now the question is that it's not as easy as we think. If there were so, everybody be doing it.
Yeah.
True.
Let me give several examples.
Exactly.
The rich young ruler came running up on Jesus. Y'all know the story, right? He said, what must I do to inherit the kingdom of heaven? Right? Jesus already told him all this other stuff. He says, one thing that you're missing. One thing you have to do. He told him, sell everything. Give it to the poor. And you'll have treasures in heaven.
Come follow me.
Right? And come follow me, right? And so this is the principles we talking about. It was a kingdom principle, right? It was a kingdom principle that causes this man to choke. It caused him to choke. He had a whole lot of possessions. He was rich, he was young, had a whole lot of possessions. And he wasn't willing to exchange his earthly possessions for heavenly possessions. It tells me that a part of where the treasure in heaven is that sometimes he's talking about your money.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's simple. Yeah.
So you know, people smiling, so oh no, they're gonna preach and talk about. But he's talking about, what's dear and what's value to you. What was dear and value to this man,
What's his money?
what's his money? He didn't see this as a good exchange. He said, hold on, let me look. Let me rationalize this thing. Let me think about this. Let me think about this. Shoot, if I get him junk about money, what that do? What that leave me in? Broke. He said, hold on, let me think about this. Shoot, the guy might have got inheritance, left to him. He might have worked hard to get it. And you told all that stuff, he think about this. Hold up. He say some of it. He's telling the man to give up all of it. To get, all you're going to do is you for. See, he was thinking short term. Instead of long term.
Yes.
When Jesus asks us to do something, he gives us kingdom principle, because all this is red, it's not easy to do. It's not easy to do because we've been programmed, to function and do it like this, instead of figuring out, saying, hold up. How do we plan for the long term? And he says that in a long-term plan, listen, those worms and them all can't touch it. You see what I'm talking about?
Yes.
And the thief can't break in.
Yes.
The rust won't be there. He's saying those things have eternal value.
Yes.
That's what we should ultimately put all our energy and everything into, is building up heavenly treasures while we are here on earth. And something that can be money, something that can be your time, you're talking about using your talents, or whatever it is, but it gotta go towards the kingdom. It gotta go for you to get heavenly treasure here on earth, it gotta go towards the kingdom. All right, and the last thing we're going to look at, he said, for where your treasure is,
There your heart is.
there your heart would be also.
Yes.
Now what he's saying is that where your treasure is, your heart will be there also. What he was saying, in the centerpiece of everything, is coming right from your heart. It's coming from your heart. It's really coming from an individual heart. Huh? Aware that what you value. Huh? What you value. Right? What are you consider precious and valuable to you is going to come right from your heart. All they got to do is look at what you do. Huh? That's all they got to do. Is all they got to do, and they can tell you what you value, what you put stock in, how much time you put into it, right? And that's what it's really saying. It's a heart of a man. It's the treasure. Your heart ain't far from your treasure. Your heart ain't far from what you say you prioritize, what you think is important. No. Your heart is totally there. He said they both go together. If your heart is only in getting earthly possessions. Now, he ain't talking about you going out buying a car, a house, this and that. No, he's not talking about that. He's not talking about that. He's talking about covenant and greed. See, that's what stuff he's talking about. You see what I'm talking about? So sometimes we go like, oh no, Jesus don't want us to have nothing. Don't. No, I'm saying, no, he's not saying that. Keep it in the right context. He's talking about, Pastor, I'm going to go sell my house.
Right.
You go here by yourself. I ain't gonna do mine. You go here, go and sell it. I'm gonna sell it. I'm gonna live in a little gingerbread house or whatever y'all want to think. Because sometimes Christians is I think a little loony sometimes. We're talking about you go here by yourself. You go in by yourself, talking about, I'm going to go sell my car. Go and sell yours if you want to. Amen. You can go ahead. Amen. Uber or Lyft don't get you. You know what I'm talking about? So we got to keep it in our right perspective. Because the old saints thought that they got to, talking about that they can't have anything. Yeah. They can't have a house. They can't have a car. They can't have money in the bank. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about? You better have some money in the bank. Well, Jesus is going to come any day soon. Well, he haven't came back yet. You know what I'm talking about? Short-sighted. You're talking about, what I got to save for? I'm going to have you better. You on earth. You're a dual citizen. Those principles you still have to understand. We still got to live down here, but we still have to apply stuff and be wise. Right? So we really have to understand, what is Jesus talking about? He's talking about them because they thought that those who had a lot of money, a lot of possessions,
they would want to go possess the kingdom.
Right? That's what they thought. You remember what he said? That's what he said. They said that when Jesus told them that, that it's hard for, when he talked about that rich man. Yeah. And he was like, oh, Lord, who can possess the kingdom then? Huh? Right. See what I'm talking about? You see what I'm talking about? So he reversed everything. Right? And he reversed everything in this particular text. And then finally he get down and just says this. And really, all this really go together is this. He says that you can't serve two masters. Amen. Read down a little more and really still go together. You can't serve God and mammon. You can't serve God and money. Yeah. Come on. Mm-hmm. Right? So really, just put it in our context. He was saying, you can't serve both of them. You can't serve both of them. You can't serve both of them. Either you're going to love the one, hate the other. That's right. You can't say, well, I love God, but I sure love my money. You can't do it. You can't do it. You see, you can't. So I'm saying you're going to give God 50%. Come on, bro. Come on. You give your money 50%. Come on. No, he wants your whole heart. That's right. What he said, where your treasure at? In your heart. In your heart? In your heart. So if your heart is towards God, then what you'll do, you'll give it up. Isn't it amazing that he uses examples of money more than anything else? Yes, it is. The Bible talks about money more than it talks about anything else. I know it. You see what I'm talking about? He said the love of money. You see what I'm talking about? Is the root of all evil. He said money is evil. He said to love it. You see what I'm talking about? Right? You can't let possessions possess you. Yes. Amen. Right? I used to, when I was growing up, me and Kayla, like the other kids, they don't know about this. Since Kayla here, I won't put her on the spot though. Me and Kayla used to watch, I think she might remember, we used to watch Scrooge McDuck. Some of y'all probably don't know who Scrooge McDuck is, you know. Yeah. One thing he loved his money. Oh boy, he loved his money. Right? I mean he's swimming in gold.
Right.
He turned to a different individual
Wow.
when he get that money.
Yeah.
Because you know what he allowed? That to possess it. When you wake up in the morning, all you think about how you gonna get this? How you gonna get that?
First thing.
Huh? First thing, you know, people wake up. First thing in the morning. Huh? You see what I'm talking about? First thing, I'm gonna get this today. I'm gonna got this. I'm about first. Yep. All you building up things is gonna be wear away, eating away, and one day taken away.
First thing you work up.
Right? Listen. At the end of the day, none of those things when we get out of here, nobody take none of that with you. Isn't that something? You ain't gonna take none of that with you. Only thing you're gonna be able to take with you is the things you have stored up in heaven. And that's what we should put stock in. That's what we should spend most of our time investing in. Now, there's a whole different perspective. He's teaching the audience and teaching the people. Because he's trying to teach them how to operate in his kingdom. Right? Because they're thinking about, okay, if I do all this, how am I going to eat? That's what he's going to talk about, right? He's going to talk about, right? He's going to say, if I do all that, how am I going to eat?
That's right.
Who going to put clothes on my back?
Right.
But they don't understand how the kingdom works. If you take care of the king will take care of you. You see how it works? If you take care of God's business, God will take care of your business. Right? He kept telling him, he says, I want you to go out 2 by 2, right? I'm almost done, 2 by 2, right? I don't want you to bring no purse. I don't want you to carry nothing. But I want you to go out and do ministry. That's not unheard of. First thing we're going to do is try to have the money, the resources, the connections, and all that stuff. He said, not in the kingdom. So in the kingdom, things is already provided for us. You see what I'm talking about? Our greatest currency is our faith in the kingdom. Huh? And so when we operate in faith and in obedience, and what happened is that we can go out about the purse, about the money and all this stuff, and everything is already provided for us. Huh? You just got to go, right? You just got to go. He's teaching kingdom principles. The more that we begin to read Mathew, we begin to understand how these things work. Our perspective of what we think success is will absolutely change. Will absolutely change. And some of us, it takes us, a little older and seasoned to really do it. But if you can learn this while you're young, that's the best thing you can do. You think about this. I got a brother. I think he make pretty good money. Work for Social Security. Good money. He make good money.
It is like money.
He make good money. Get paid every 2 weeks. Good money. Get paid on a Friday.
Right.
Saturday. All gone.
No, it ain't.
All gone.
That's too fast, brother.
Been there, man.
No, listen, I'm trying to say. Listen.
He's stopping at a few bad places.
Huh?
Been there. Go.
He live in the here and now. No, you know what I'm talking about? You hearing that? He said, shoot, I'm gonna live like a king.
Now,
Now.
Now!
now,
You know what I'm talking about?
yeah.
He gonna do everything he gonna do. Some of us do the same thing. We get that paycheck. You see what I'm talking about? I'm gonna help y'all out. We get that, we get that,
Well, you got it, hey, it's all expense.
get that paycheck.
Yeah.
Get those new Timbs, Air Force Ones, or whatever y'all, you know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about cultural. We'll spend it all up.
Yeah.
And never thought about long term. I deal with clients all the time about the clothes. They need help with their rent, help with this and that. They make enough money,
Say it.
but sure side.
Yes, sir.
They spend it and then they expect others now to help them out.
Yes, sir.
And they get upset with you
Cause you don't help them.
if you don't help them.
Oh, yeah. And that been,
And if you do help them, what is their plan?
Yes.
If I get help you out this month,
What about next month?
don't need to prolong it.
Yeah.
So they don't prolong it. Well, if you're gonna get put out this month, you're gonna get put out next month. So you might as well get it done now.
Yeah.
I'm talking about, you don't talk about, it don't make a difference this month or next month. It's bound to happen. Huh? Because you're gonna wear out everybody. You're gonna wear out everybody. You're gonna wear out the county, Salvation Army, everybody, church. You're gonna wear them all out. And eventually what's gonna happen is what? Sure side. Sure side. It's just kingdom principle that we can use even in the body of Christ. Because some of us wasn't taught early. I'm about done now. Everyone wasn't taught early how to deal with finances, how to work with finances, right?
Yeah.
And so we've been taught, you know, talking about that, especially us culturally, that we want to look good. We could be broke,
That ain't it, but you gonna look good.
but we're gonna look good.